Hello, everybody. It's Menners live at tea on the final day of the first test. Yes, I've got the house to myself, so I thought I'd jump on to talk about this riveting final day. The match still in the balance going into the final session. Australia need 98 runs for the victory. England, 5 more wickets. An incredibly gripping first session of play today. Well, it's actually the second session, so a delayed start of 3 hours. But we saw Usman Khawaja bat right through the session. He's 56 not out off 159 balls, and he's anchoring this innings. Cameron Green is 22 not out off 54 balls, and the match is right in the balance. So this morning's play started pretty well from the Australians. Boland and Khawaja got the score to 121 for 4. And I think when Scott Boland was walking out to bat yesterday, if you'd said he'll score 20 off 40, you'd have taken that there and then. So a good contribution from Boland. He went early, and that brought Travis Head to the crease. Now, this is the period where Khawaja really struggled to score. In that first hour, he was very slow, scored very few runs. So he started the day 34 not out, and at the first drinks break, he was 39 not out. So in that first hour, just scored 5 runs. He went at a snail's pace, and that, I guess, put a bit of pressure on maybe Travis Head at the other end to get going. But we'll talk about that in a moment, because I actually don't think Khawaja did anything wrong. I think he was just playing the situation. I think England bowled very well, and Khawaja showed excellent discipline outside off stump. They were saying in commentary maybe they were allowing England to dictate terms, but there are other ways to play cricket other than Bazball. You know, everyone's been brainwashed by the Poms thinking the only way to play is attack, attack, attack. But sometimes you can soak up pressure, and that's what Khawaja did. If you want to ask some questions, put them in the chat, and then I'll get to it. But so that first hour was very gripping. I thought Anderson, Broad bowled exceptionally well. Didn't give many loose balls for the batters, and they put the pressure on. But Khawaja just soaked it up. And that is where I think he's improved so much. I think a lot of people say he's more relaxed, and his mindset is why he's a better player now. But actually, it's a tale as old as time. He's tightened up outside off stump. He's not so loose out there. He makes the bowlers bowl to him. He doesn't flash outside the off stump as much as he used to. And we saw that in the first hour. He was very patient. He wasn't drawn into any of the wide balls that were delivered to him. You know, they would sort of just throw one out there hoping he'd flash at it, and he wasn't doing it. So I think that's tremendous test cricket. And if anyone's criticizing Khawaja for batting too slowly, that's just preposterous. So Travis Head, though, he was a bit slow to get going, and then Ben Stokes brings on Moeen Ali, and Travis Head goes happy days, and he hits 10 runs off the first, I think, 5 balls of the first over. No, the first 4 balls. And then on the 5th ball, he's just defending and gets caught at first slip. Just so annoying to get out to Moeen Ali. And I say before the series, Moeen Ali does have a knack of getting annoying wickets against Australia. And I know his average is pretty high, but you shouldn't be getting out to Moeen Ali on a final day like this. I mean, that ball didn't have much on it. I thought Head just, I wouldn't say it was a lazy shot in defense, but I thought he was a bit casual, and I guess the same thing. But his footwork, he just got planted there and seemed to get a bit stuck and fended it to Root at first slip. So that meant Australia was 5 for 143, and at that stage, I was very nervous. But we've seen Cameron Green come out, play very well. He's such a mature player. I do have faith that Green and Khawaja can get as close to the target from here. Green made 22 off 54. He played nicely. He didn't give any chances, and it was just what you'd expect from him now. He's a very calm, mature player, but he absorbed the pressure. He and Khawaja put on 40 in that period up to lunch. So yeah, really, it's just set up so beautifully for this last session. 98 runs needed. I don't think run rate will be a problem. Khawaja and Green heading out to the crease after tea. Then you've got Alex Carey. Then you've got Pat Cummins. I mean, we are in for an absolute corker. This is going to be an all-time classic. A few things were bubbling away. I think there was on the coverage they showed Khawaja and Robinson having a few words together. So, geez, it could get really spicy in this last session. And yeah, just all on the line. I think as well, I wonder how the weather's going to go in this last couple of hours. If it looks pretty good at the moment, but if the clouds come in, then the ball could start to swing around. But this is just such a gripping test match, and yeah, cannot wait to see who wins. So from that first session, I wonder if there was a chance off Khawaja. They didn't really show it a lot on the coverage, but Khawaja flashed at one off Ali, and he threw his head back. Bairstow dropped it. They showed the replay, and you couldn't see clear deflection. But if that's another chance gone down for Bairstow, he's had a shocker, and England have got that wrong. I mean, they just have plainly got to own it. They've stuffed up. You know, instead of going to the nets, they played golf and they had their little team bonding. Well, sometimes you got to put in a bit of hard yakka, and you know, can you imagine this England team if they did work hard as well as you know, being relaxed and having a good time. So. Yes, I just think they've got that wrong. If I was an England fan, I would be so frustrated. Bairstow cannot keep in the next match. So the first session, Australia scored 76 runs for the loss of 2 wickets. You have to say, I would say an even session, no clear winner. England probably would have wanted 1 more wicket. Australia might have wanted 20 more runs, but boy, this is going to be one hell of a finish into the wee hours of the morning in Australia. It's 1:40 a.m. here. And the reason I am live on YouTube is because my kids are on band camp and my wife's away for work. And I mentioned on our day 4 wrap that I had the house to myself and I was pretty happy about it. And one of our listeners ratted me out to my wife. She got a message saying, your husband said, you know, he's having an Ashes party. And anyway, yeah, so obviously one of my listeners is friends with my wife, so I guess I've got to be careful now. But yeah, been ratted out by a listener. Well, I've got it now. If you want to ask a question, throw them in the chat. All right. So we've got Robin. Can I get free tickets for the show? Not sure if he's talking about his live show. Absolutely not, Robin. You cannot get free tickets. Buy one like everybody else. Joey. Wouldn't love nothing better than for Uzi to hit the winning runs on Ollie Robinson. Absolutely. Absolutely. I hate Ollie Robinson. I absolutely despise him. I said before that the series, the English drive me mad, and he's one of the reasons. He's an absolutely prize winning cock. And I hope we win and we hit the winning runs off him. And I hope he comes down to Australia in the next Ashes and we are going to bounce the shit out of him because he deserves everything he gets. What a Class A knob. All right. Tony Booth. Manners, folks, or Manners. Not me, that's for sure. Read that wrong. I won't be keeping. Manners. Folks or Bairstow? And if you keep Bairstow, which batter goes? It's a very good question, Tony. I would be bringing in folks. And at this stage, which batter would I drop? I mean, I don't like the idea of Stokes going up to open the batting. I'd probably drop someone like Harry Brook. To me, he's a bit of a slogger. So, you know, if you're going to pick Bairstow, I'd be happy to him to go up to the middle order and Harry Brook to go out. Ryan Smith. I thought Usman learnt from his mistakes with Head when not scoring and started scoring a bit more to take the pressure off Green. I honestly do not think Khawaja thinks like that. I think he just plays every ball on its merits, and I think that's one of the reasons he's turned himself into such a better cricketer. Tony Booth. How could they pick Moeen when he hasn't bowled for ages in red ball cricket? Tony, arrogance. stupidity and arrogance. A matter of fact, I think this team has displayed a lot of arrogance, the English team, just to think that they can play Test cricket the way they want, not train, pick players from T20 cricket. Yeah, it's ridiculous. Someone made a comment that they could have been playing county championship cricket instead of playing golf. So if I was an England fan, I'd be dirty on that. Tony Booth on the ball that got head, that turned a reasonable amount. To be fair, that's true. It did straighten a lot, but he was kind of squared up. If he didn't really get across and left himself open to it. Tony Booth, loving Beastie Boys tweets. Barrett Sundaresan, great friend of the show. Snowbow, would you put your house on Australia? I'm not really a gambler and certainly wouldn't put my house on it. I'd say Australia maybe slight favourites now, 98 runs, but as Richie Benaud used to say, you add 2 wickets to the score and the game totally changes, and you only need 2 good balls. So can't wait for that. And that is it. Well, that is it for all the questions. So just a really wonderful test match, and it's going to climax now in the last session. Wow, unbelievable. All to play for. I thought David Warner played really well in this innings. I thought it was a nice little 36. But then Labuschagne and Smith, not good test matches for them. And that could be where this match is decided. If England do sneak over the line, you might look at Smith and Labuschagne's contribution over the 2 innings and think that's the difference. Normally, you could bank on one of them to bat close to their average in 1 or 2 of the innings. So for the fact that hasn't happened, it's left Australia a bit short. Here's Joey. Last question. Would you send in Lyon next as a bit of a pinch hitter to maybe score a quick fire 15 or 20 before Carey? I wouldn't do that, and I don't think that's the way the Australians play. I think they'll bat Carey. I think Cummins will come in after that. I just don't think they'll mess around with the order. That's not the way they do it. And I guess as well, they'll want the good batters facing the ball before the second new ball. So the ball's 59 overs old. So in 21 overs, England can get a second new ball. I think Australia will want to score quickly and get close to the target before that second new ball. And I don't think Lyon would want to go out there, to be honest. I mean, it's the batter's job. He would say that, go and score the runs. All right. That's it for me. I'm going to go and get ready for this last session. I've got one last question. Snowbow, what's your starting 11 for Lords, England or Australia? I'll give you my Aussie 11. I'm going unchanged except for Stark coming in for Boland. Cummins, Hazelwood, Stark would be my attack, and the rest stays the same. All right, go and make your cup of tea and get ready. Well, Tony Booth asked a question. Got a bit of time. Should England play their leg spinner at Old Trafford? I would. Australia's susceptible to good spin bowling. I mean, if there's turn in the pitch, I mean, we've seen Moeen Ali's got some wickets. He's gone for a few runs, but Australia, we're not the best players to spin bowling. So absolutely, I would. Got to do something, and they're going to need to maybe strengthen the bowling. Maybe just, at Lords, do you just bring in Wokes for Moeen Ali and just can the spinner altogether? I mean, we know Wokes has got a great record at Lords. You play him there. They'll probably think about Mark Wood coming back in. Could depend on how this result goes. If England lose, they might drop, say, Robinson and bring in Wood, and drop Ali and bring in Wokes, and Root can bowl a few spinners. But haven't seen the pitch. I mean, if it's as dry as this one, then they'll have to pick a spinner. All right, we'll go and put your kettle on. Tea will be over soon. The players will be walking out. And at the end of play, Paul and I will be catching up to wrap up the 5th day, but it is enthralling stuff.